Smita ma'am, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today at Mahi Talk, we have our Dr. Deepak Masekar Sarji, and he will guide us to the sustainable developments. I would like to give a short intro about Masekar sir, though the short intro, even you will feel the longer one because like he has too many hats wearing, and he is a master's in veterinary science, and he's a gold medalist from the Bombay Veterinary College of LLB. And the assignments he has done, with lot of assignments, he worked with the government. So he is the chairman of State Level Environment Impact Assessment Authority of Maharashtra, member executive committee of MCCIA, Maratha Chamber of Commerce, Industries and Agriculture, and member of Maharashtra State Committee on New Education Policy, and advisor to Chief Minister of Maharashtra from Pune, and former Divisional Commissioner of Pune. He worked in various capacities like Collector, Metropolitan Commissioner, Municipal Commissioner, CEO of ZP, and Deputy Secretary as well. So he has got so many awards and achievements in his career. To name a few, the first award for solid waste management as a municipal commissioner at Nanded, and Yashwant Panchayat Raj Abhiyan Award while working as a Chief Executive Officer of Jilla Parishad Kolhapur for various initiatives he worked on. And at the national level, he has got the second award of solid waste management and water supply under National Urban Renewal Mission NURM, and the National Award for efforts in making city slum free and community. So participle under Basic Service of Urban Poor, so which is BSUP, and Rajiv Gandhi Panchayat Sashактикаран Abhiyan Award while working as a Chief Executive Officer of Jilla Parishad at Kolhapur. And also he is a very good writer. I have gone through his many of the books as well. So during the COVID, everyone was very much feeling insecure. So at that time, he has written some books and published various articles in dailies and magazines as well. He is the author of the COVID books for common people to get scientific information about COVID, which is in Marathi, COVID Muktiचा Marg, in Hindi, COVID Mukti Ki Raah, Freedom from COVID as in the English form. And he has also published the autobiography of Atal Avichal in Marathi. Sir, we are very glad to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting our invite and be here at the Mahi Talk to guide all of us towards the sustainable development. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. In fact, a short introduction has already been given by Patil Madam. I had been working in government field for almost now last 38 years. I joined my services way back in 87, and in various capacities across Maharashtra, I was working almost 13 to 14 districts of Maharashtra where I was posted, and all regions of Maharashtra, Vidarbha, Marathwada, Western Maharashtra, Uttar Maharashtra, Konkan, practically all the areas of Maharashtra. Madam, will you share the presentation, please?
Yes, sir.
Put it in slideshow mode.
Yes, sir.
No, at the bottom you can go, and then there is a right-hand side, the slideshow mode would be there. Just by the side of notes, I mean, where the screen is being displayed, come down to the notes, where, yeah, right side. नोट्सच्या बाजूला ते एक ग्लास सारखं दिसतंय उभं. नो जस्ट नाही, अजून त्याच्या राईटला, अजून राईटला. येस, दॅट्स इट. Click on it. Yes, thank you. So basically, I'll be talking about sustainable real estate development policies and the challenges that we are likely to face in future. Next slide, please. I will not be going into details of this, my bio, which has already been briefed by Smita Patil madam. As I said, worked across Maharashtra in different sectors, rural, urban, education, and practically all the aspects of working in the state government. Next, please. When I entered the service, we generally used to talk of integral or integrated program, integrated tribal development, integrated rural development, integrated urban development. And there were so many programs which were launched by the then government of India and the state government. Nowadays, the key word is sustainable development. We are talking of sustainable. At the onset, why we are talking of sustainable development rather, in addition to the integrated development, because when we were talking of integrated development, there were different schemes launched by Government of India and Government of Maharashtra, and the beneficiary was getting the benefit of different schemes, but in isolation, not in an integrated way. So we were talking of integrated development, that is integration of all the development programs. The keyword sustainable development started recently. Over a period of time, we realized that we are overexploiting our resources. Probably you may be knowing a very well quote of Mahatma Gandhi ji. He said there is enough for everybody's need, but there wouldn't be anything if everybody starts using them with greed. That is what we did. Instead of using what is needed, we started using it for greed, overexploitation, overuse of all the resources. And therefore, we started talking about sustainable. What does sustainable means? Right now, when we talk of water supply, probably we already have exploited water which could have been available for at least 3 to 4 generations, but we have overexploited groundwater. And therefore, whatever resources we have, same thing about forest reserves, we are overexploiting. What is due to our next generation, we are already utilizing it. And therefore, the term sustainable, that is the one which will last long. Whatever we are utilizing, that will have to be replenished. That much will have to be given back to the nature. So when we talk of sustainable real estate, need of resilience in urban infrastructure, we already know climate-related risk, extreme weather events that necessitate infrastructure that can withstand environmental stress. Over a period of time, we all are discussing that either in summer it is more of a heat, in rains it is unpredictable rains. Earlier, the rain maximum intensity used to be, or on an average, it used to be 40 mm per hour, and we designed urban infrastructure to that level. In fact, CPHEU guidelines were talking of 40 mm rainfall intensity per hour. But last 10-20 years, we are seeing rain intensity going to the extent of 100 millimeters or even 200 millimeters, or in exceptional cases, more than that. And therefore, the urban infrastructure did collapse. And these vagaries of environment, why are they happening? We do hear about greenhouse effect. We do hear about the overheating or change in the climate or climate change. But the basic cause of it will have to be understood. And every sector, including the real estate sector, will have to contribute towards the sustainable growth or sustainable development. When we talk of environmental imperatives, real estate accounts for over 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So, when we are talking of heating or change of climate, it is the greenhouse gases, may it be chlorofluorocarbons, may it be or carbon dioxide or water vapor. There are so many greenhouse gases which don't allow the heat radiations to go back to the atmosphere, and the heat is trapped in the atmosphere, as is happening in a greenhouse where we do our or we grow our saplings. And therefore it is called greenhouse gas or greenhouse effect. 30% of global greenhouse gases come for construction sector. The economic imperatives of it are green buildings are lower in operational cost because they are more energy efficient, they are more water efficient, and their long lasting or long-term economic develop or benefits of it to the both developer as well as user. Socially, it improves the healthy environment, access to green spaces, and equitable development improve or quality of life. Next, please. Next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
Just click on it. I think it should go. Now, when we talk of India or Maharashtra, urbanization has been growing at a very fast pace in Maharashtra as well as India. Many of the Indian states are growing at a very fast pace. May it be Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. And overall urbanization is increasing. Dependence on agriculture is reducing. More of the GDP is coming from urban cities. And urbanization trend has already started. In fact, right now, or maybe in this decade only, we'll be having 50% of our population residing in urban areas, which at one point of time was less than 30. So urban growth is accelerating, increasing the demand for sustainable housing and infrastructure. And therefore, we need to plan this urban infrastructure very eco-conscious, in an eco-conscious way. And therefore, we should be going for green construction. We also have global commitments. As you very well know, the Paris Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals, they have a target of carbon neutrality because it is expected by the end of the century, the temperature of the Earth may rise by 2 degrees. In fact, that was the original estimate, but the revised estimate tells us about it could be as high as 3 degrees. And when we talk of 2 or 3 degrees, it may seem very small thing, but the fact is many of the islands in Pacific, Indian Ocean may be submerged. The population residing there will have to shift somewhere else. And not only that, the biggest consequences could be the cropping pattern. Probably we may not be able to grow wheat in Punjab. We may not be able to grow rice in Andhra Pradesh. Because this 2 to 3 degrees temperature change is the crops are very sensitive, and therefore it may affect the overall economy of the, not only country, the world. Therefore, the world is talking of sustainable development goals, and therefore the Paris Agreement came in, whereby there are 2 types of countries, 37 countries, we call it annexed countries. Those are to become carbon neutral by 2050. We, China, and some which are non-annexed countries have been given 20 years additional leverage. That is, we are supposed to become carbon neutral by 2007. Now, when we are talking of carbon neutrality, every sector will have to be carbon neutral, may it be industry, may it be real estate, or any development for that matter. And therefore, key priorities are reducing emission, conserving resources, and creating resilient, livable communities through responsible, sustainable development. Next, please. Now, when we talk of cities, the most important thing, in my opinion, and my experience as working in urban sector, I have worked for more than 7 to 8 years in different capacities as Metropolitan Development Commissioner, as Deputy Secretary Urban Development, as Municipal Commissioner, and then overall looking to the urban local bodies as Divisional Commissioner. The problem with India is we do prepare our development plans, or that's a spatial planning. How do you have your services in different areas, where a playground should be, where a school should be, where a recreation ground should be or recreation space should be, where the cremation ground should be. Everything is marked on the development plan. But unfortunately, our development plans remain only plans. We never execute them, or we execute them hardly 30 to 40% of development plan is being executed. And therefore, the issues come. We do have, for example, if we are talking of Pune, or for that matter, any other city, we have people living in one corner of the city and going for the job to the other corner of the city. When we talk of, in Pune's context, people may be living in Wakad or Baner and coming for work to Kharadi. And while doing this, unnecessarily transport, wastage of time, and creation of additional greenhouse gases in the process of transport. So therefore, spatial planning will have to be very carefully done, and not only done, will have to be implemented. And the most important part when we are talking of spatial planning is mixed-use zoning. One can have in the same zone residential area, commercial area, recreational space, schools, playgrounds, so that one has to travel minimum distance to have access to these facilities. We have come out with transit-oriented development. That is, when we talk of metro or BRTS earlier, it was supposed, and it is supposed, that the development should occur by the side of these transit corridors, so that people don't have to travel much. They can go to the public transport, that is either it could be BRTS or metro, with minimum travel, go to their workplace and come back by the public transport again to their home. And this is best developed in London. The London tubes are very well developed. You don't have to travel much. One can travel by the tubes and reach any destination in a short span of time. On the contrary, in London, there is a additional tax if you go into congested area with your car. If you go to central London, you may have to pay £10 per hour if you are taking your own car. So people don't take it. People go by public transport. But unfortunately in India, public transport are looked as if it's a mode of transport only for poor. But that's not the case. Everybody has to use it. We save our time. We don't put on a burden on the natural resources. We don't contribute to greenhouse gases emission, and therefore public transport is important, and therefore transit-oriented development concept had come, may it be for metro or may it be for BRTS. Walkability or density optimization. As I said, within the area itself, all the services should be available. And everyone should try to go for non-motorized vehicle, that is basically cycles. We should use cycles, go by cycles to nearby places so that you don't emit greenhouse gases and you don't pollute the atmosphere. When I was municipal commissioner in Nanded, we did develop cycle tracks there. And that was the condition under Jawaharlal Nehru National Urban Renewal Mission. We developed a special road design wherein the main carriageway was there on which the cars could go. Centrally, then to the side, there was a footpath where people can walk. Then there was a cycle carriageway or non-motorized vehicle carriageway. It could be cycle or even it could be a push cart. जे हातगाडी जी आपण घेऊन जातो ती. And then multi-utility zone on which hawkers can sit. And this design we got award from Asian Development Bank. And this was appreciated by even IITs, a special design, road design. Unfortunately, we are unable to teach the people how to use it. So probably we had not been able to teach the people how to use it. And sometimes there is a misuse of these roads. Next, please. Now, when we are talking of greenhouse gases reduction, we should be thinking of energy. See, after all these gases, everything revolves around energy. If you are to cook, you need energy. If you are to travel, you need energy. Whatever you do, you need energy. Without energy, it is not possible. So how do you best produce a green energy? How do you produce energy in a renewable form, that is using natural resources, and most important of it being solar? Utilizing of solar, utilization of building rooftops for solar PV installation, reduce dependence on grid electricity. It can be used for residential, commercial, institutional, or industrial building as well, industrial shades as well. And by doing solar, you can also go for net metering. If you are producing excess, you can put in your excess produced energy into the grid, which you can either take credit for or you may be paid back. My son is in USA. He hardly pays any electricity charges because he has a single-storied house and a fully covered solar plant by which his energy needs are fulfilled. Second is wind energy potential. There are certain regions in the Maharashtra as well as India where the wind velocity is much, much higher than required for the windmills to operate. And therefore, it becomes easy to use wind energy. And by wind energy, you produce electricity, again, a renewable source. We are also talking of solar energy. I'm sorry. We are also talking of the energy from sea, wave energy. The sea waves that do come on the coast, they will produce electricity. And for this, Government of India are coming out with different policies. You may be knowing Har Ghar, Surya Ghar, Ya Har Ghar Bijli, solar, basically promoting solar, net metering, capital subsidies, tax benefits. We are also talking of EV promotion, electric vehicle promotion. There is electric vehicle promotion. Recently, Government of Maharashtra also has taken a decision that if you have an electric vehicle, you don't have to pay the toll charges. So government is promoting the policies. Electric vehicle is a stopgap arrangement in my personal opinion. It could be there for 10 to 15 years. We are looking at a larger picture of green hydrogen. And once the green hydrogen comes, then the things will be even much, much better. Government of India has already invested more than 18,000 crore in green hydrogen production program. Next, please. water conservation. When I started my talk with this water, because when I joined the services, areas in Marathwada, we were talking of getting converted into deserts because there is a over exploitation of water. I did work in Jalgaon. There are certain blocks of Jalgaon where the water level has gone 800 meters below. Jokingly, we used to say, if we go further deeper, probably lava may come out. That's the way we are over exploiting water. So you need to recharge the water and therefore capture and store the rainwater for reuse. Either it could be stored in tanks or it could be used to recharge the aquifers. The aquifers in the ground or which will increase the groundwater capacity. And therefore it has been made mandatory in urban development regulation. And that is one of the area which we do monitor when we assess your projects for environmental clearance. Low flow features, faucets, showers, toilets. Very few people know toilets have two types of knob. One which will discharge only 5 liters of water. The other one discharges almost 3 times. It is supposed when you are using it for urine purpose, you must push the smaller button, which will only discharge up to 5 liters. And the other one is when you go to toilet. But people don't differentiate. People don't understand. And there is a lot of wastage of water. But as you know, for every urban citizen, 135 liters per day is the norm. And Government of India and Maharashtra and every government for that matter have taken a policy that only 90 liters would be provided by the urban local body and 45 liters will have to be recycled, which could be used for toilet, which could be used for developing greens, which could be used for developing lawns, so that only fresh 90 liters of water is used. So that saves two ways. One is water is saved and the cost to purify water is brought down because you have to purify the less quantity of water in the WTP. Smart metering, we are more metering or counting the water that is being used by the people by water metering method. That also helps to find out leakages and efficient use. The one who will use less water will have less to pay, and the other one who uses overuse will have to pay more. Next, please. Water recycling and recharge. I was talking of this. As I was saying, the 45 liters of water is not given to you for your requirement. This is supposed to be generated from your STP or grey water reuse. The treated wastewater could be used for landscaping, flushing, cooling. That reduces your freshwater demand and that helps you in bringing down the cost of water per kiloliter of water. Groundwater recharge zones. As you know, we do ask you what is the groundwater level prior to monsoon and after the monsoon. That gives us an indication as to what is the potential for recharge. And based on that, we do ask you and we do advise you to collect the rooftop water and ensure that it helps in recharging the groundwater. Next, please. Green cover and plantation policy. You know, the new policy is at least 80 plants or 80 trees per acre of plot. So if your plot is 1 acre on which you are developing or carrying out a development, you will have to plant 80 trees. In addition to that, if there are any existing trees which are going to be cut, there is a formula which has been devised by Government of Maharashtra by which you will have to come to a conclusion as to how many compensatory trees will have to be planted. This will depend on the age of the tree which you are cutting, the type of the tree which you are cutting, and based on that, you will have to go for compensatory afforestation. Yesterday, only we were discussing in our meeting Unfortunately, many a times it so happens that people say we would be doing ops situ or not in situ plantation. We have taken a cautious decision that minimum whatever is prescribed per acre will have to be done on the plot. Rest compensatory, they may go for offsite plantation. Otherwise, it may happen that the cities will become a hot island-like thing. And that's what we want to reduce. It improves the quality, and most important, the urban forest helps in carbon sequestration. Whatever carbon that we exhale, whatever carbon that we produce, whatever fluorocarbons are produced because of trees and other instruments, these are being absorbed by the plantation. And there are typical plantations, foliages, which have more carbon sequestration property. And therefore, we ask to go for it so that maximum carbon sequestration happens. The parks, the greens, they are nothing but the lungs of the city. If they are not there, you are likely to have problem as when we do have when our lung becomes dysfunctional. Next, please. Carbon sequestration, that's what I was about to, I already talked to you about. The carbon dioxide that is in the city is absorbed by the trees. In fact, they act as living carbon sinks for the cities. And they reduce the urban heat, improve the air quality, and therefore we are asking for the green cover. Soil carbon storage, when you plant the trees, the soil also has its own, the plant will develop its root system, and thereby it starts holding back carbon dioxide. And therefore, the quality of the soil also increases, and therefore, the carbon is absorbed in the soil. Biochar applications converts biomass into stable carbon or soil enrichment. There is a method for preparing biomass, and through these biomass, that's the pellets or maybe organic compost, that enhances water retention and nutrient availability for the crops. So this helps in long-term carbon capture with minimal emissions. Next, please. Carbon neutrality and life cycle assessment. In fact, carbon neutrality is the subject that we should be talking of more now in future. In fact, in a short span of time, I will be coming out with my new book on carbon neutrality that is called Carbonomics. This is my firm conviction that maybe after another 8 to 10 years, we will be talking of carbon economy only. Because the Paris Agreement talks of carbon offset, carbon neutrality, carbon credits, and if you fail to do your carbon neutrality, imposing carbon tax on your product. And the moment the carbon tax will be imposed, which Canada has already started on the petrol, your products are going to be costlier than any other product. And therefore, you may not be producing whatever you produce will not be economic in market. And therefore, you may lose market, you may lose your profit. And that is how the carbon is going to play a major role in economy. And therefore, carbonomics, that is what I call it, economics plus carbon. So carbon neutrality is very important. We will have to ensure that during the life cycle of the building, it becomes carbon neutral. If we presume that the life cycle of the building is 60, we do ask you to go for carbon footprint of the building, how much carbon footprint the building is creating, and how much of it is being neutralized, and are we going towards carbon neutrality? The day may come, a carbon neutral building will have a different cost or different tax than a non-carbon neutral building. And therefore, it is very important that we should be learning this concept of carbon neutrality. It starts with your energy audit. The moment you do your energy audit, you will come to know whether your industry, whether your house, or whether your building is carbon neutral or not. How much energy does it consume and how much of it comes out of renewable energy? The MOF has put some conditions, and therefore we do ask you to go for carbon solar photovoltaic cell as well as solar heaters, so that your energy requirement in the building is reduced. But there are various ways of doing it. You can also reorient your building. The orientation of the building will reduce your carbon energy requirement. Natural light will have to come in. There will have to be ventilation by which AC may not be required. There will have to be ways of ensuring that total overall building's energy requirement is reduced. It could be even done with the choice of the color that the building takes. There are different types of color that are coming, which are more light reflecting, and therefore you may not require the artificial light. So these are small things, but every small thing will contribute to a larger outcome. Next, please. Energy efficiency in real. As I said, high performance building, passive design, that's what I was talking about, daylighting, insulation, orientation of building, whether you build it east-west or south-north-south, it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So the more, if you build it south, north-south, you are likely to get maximum natural sunlight. So the orientation will give you. Maximum daylighting would be utilized. If you have a proper insulation in the walls of the building, you may not require AC or air conditioning systems. So these smart systems nowadays are IoT based. We do ask you whether you have sensors, light sensor. The moment you move in a room, the lights will be on. The moment there is no movement in the room, the lights will go off. So we need to have more IoT based energy management system, SCADA system to monitor water supply. There are different systems which will ensure that your water tank doesn't overflow. So there are systems, IoT-based system, which will give you energy monitoring. In fact, I have seen some of these systems which are used in industry. Sitting at home, you would be knowing which industrial unit is consuming more electricity for the same production. And then you may go for energy audit and find out what is going wrong. Material and appliances efficiency. As I said, Energy Star rated appliances, LED lighting, use of low carbon, thermally efficient construction material. Next, please. Even as you know, steel, we do allow the recycled steel to a certain extent without compromising the quality and structural stability of the building. Balancing emission through smart design. I think carbon neutrality and offsetting, energy efficient material designs, low carbon materials, fly ash, recycled steel, I was talking about. Passive design strategy, natural ventilation, daylighting, reducing embodied or operational carbon footprint. When we are asking you carbon footprint, we do ask for two things. One is while during construction phase, and second is operational phase. So in both, if you are going construction phase, you are likely to create some carbon footprint, but your operational phase should be such that it should be in negative, so that ultimately the building becomes carbon neutral or carbon negative. Investment in renewable energy, offsite offsets, carbon credits. This is a new concept of carbon credits. You may be knowing in which I was talking to initially, 37 countries, Canada, around $40 per carbon credit. Same is the case in UK, USA, has more. In fact, European Economic Union has almost 70 euro rate, 70 to 60 fluctuates carbon. It is something like TDR. The more the demand, it would go up. The less the demand, it would come down. So a time will come when probably the Indian builders or the Indian industrialists will have to buy carbon credits. And that should not be the case. We should be carbon neutral on our own rather than buying carbon credits from uh, other countries. So therefore, the other options are CDM, we call Clean Development Mechanism. You invest in renewable energy, you invest in afforestation, you invest in clean technology, and you will get carbon credits. The carbon credits are of two types, certified and verified. Verified are much important and much more credit worthy, reliable. This will help us go our net zero goals. And that is what is important. Carbon credit market participation, developer can earn or trade carbon credits via green practices, aligned with social goal or uh, environmental social goals. Green building certification encourages accountability and transparency in emissions. Next, please. Climate change, I already touched this subject. This is a very sensitive subject. Rising climate risk in real estate, increased frequency of flood. Why do we see floods? Nobody would have ever thought in 2005, city like Mumbai, 400 people dying because of floods. Heat waves. And same thing happened in Kolhapur, Sangli last year. In fact, when I joined as municipal commissioner Nanded, we had one of the worst flood in the history of Nanded. 22,000 families had to be shifted. So these are certain vagaries of climate, floods, heat waves, extreme weather. And this will have its impact on property value, insurance, and operational cost. And therefore, we are coming out with, we do ask you whether it's in blue line, whether it is in red line, when you are nearby a Oda or nearby a river, and then you will have to have elevated plains, flood-proof basements, water-sensitive urban design. So all these are part of the design of the building by which you could reduce your impact on carbon by way of reducing carbon footprint on the climate change. Cool roofs, ventilated facades, thermal insulation, landscape-based drainages, permeable pavements to manage stormwater. We do ask you, rather than putting ordinary pavers, go for grass pavers, which will allow the water to be retained and percolated. New norms will have to be adopted. Long-term liability will have to be seen. Compliance will have to be. As I was saying, the earlier designs were for 40 millimeters of average rainfall per hour. We are in the process of thinking of changing it. Because earlier it used to be a rainfall throughout the rainy season, but nowadays the same rainfall happens, but the number of rainy days are lessened. If it was for 40 days in a season in earlier period, now you find the same rainfall in maybe even 20 or 15 days. And the intensity of rainfall ensures that it doesn't percolate in the ground, but it just is washed off and goes to river and from there to sea. So these are something which we will have to ensure. Next, please. Noise and air pollution. We are also talking about it. Acoustic zoning, noise barriers, land use planning, in which, as you know, in hospital, nearby hospital, you have no noise zone or silent zone. Use of sound insulating materials and building orientation. You may be seeing on expressway or e-way, there are sound barriers which will not be disturbing the residents in the area. I've been to South Korea, they have this across the train line. So whenever the train is moving, nobody gets any noise outside the train track, or the people are not at all disturbed. Barriers, walls to shield sensitive areas like schools, hospitals, green buffer or vegetative barriers, which will also act as the lungs of the urban areas. At the same time, they would prevent the dust or noise from going in the residential area. Air purifying landscapes like plants like ficus, neem, bamboo. These are some of the plants which will ensure that air is purified. Urban greening improves local microclimate and reduces dust load. Supports compliance with ambient air quality, because as you know, dust also has particles of 2.5 ppm and 10 ppm, which will go into your lungs and will contaminate or will infect you. And therefore, the dust reduction is most important when you are carrying out a construction activity. Next, please. Green hydrogen, I did talk about it, because green hydrogen is going to be the ultimate solution for all the fuel that we are using. Right now, we are using diesel and petrol, which is not a renewable source. At one point of time, we are likely to exhaust it. And therefore, the only way by which we could think of running our machinery or the vehicles is either through electricity, but electricity production will also require something. And therefore, we are talking and thinking about green hydrogen. The moment green hydrogen replaces it, would be one of the best renewable fuel. And for that future-ready infrastructure, we will have to prepare the hydrogen refueling station, pipeline, storage facility, integrated green hydrogen into existing energy grids. So these are certain things that we should be talking of for future. A key pillar for achieving net zero emissions is going to be, as I said, green hydrogen. Next, please. Government policies, as I said, government is taking different policy initiatives. The energy conservation building code is there. Moderate energy efficiency designs in buildings. National building code is there. Framework for safe, sustainable, and inclusive construction is there. Ministry of Urban Housing, Small Cities Mission, AMRUT, Urban Resilience Program. All these are talking of this. These are the policies of government to have renewable energy, including the Clean Energy and Climate Action, National Green Hydrogen Mission, promotion of hydrogen as a clean fuel, Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, and scales solar energy adoption and promotes solar infrastructure. These are basically initiatives of Government of Maharashtra and Government of India. Next, please. Another 3-4 slides, and I'll wind up, and then probably we could have questions. State initiatives, EV policy, incentive for electric vehicles, green building benefits, fast track approvals, property tax rebates for GRIA or IGBC certified projects, regional plantation, rejuvenation mission, urban forestry drives, water body rejuvenation, mission plantations, biodiversity parks. Next, please. Municipal and local instrument. The development plan about which I spoke at length initially, local DPs define zone FSI land use, environmental clearances, which includes rainwater harvesting, tree plantation, STPs, noise barriers, all these things. Municipal bylaws to encourage eco-friendly construction. City level examples, Pune and Nagpur. Both, as I said, even in Pune and even in Nagpur, we have this TOD for metro. And therefore, the population density is supposed to grow near the public transport systems, thereby reducing burden on the private transport or the transport or the roads. Next, please. Next, please. This is carbon credit various ways of doing it, voluntary or compliance carbon, voluntary market, then there is credits measured in CO2 equivalent tons. Board of Energy Efficiency has been assigned this task. They are coming out with rules for this carbon credit certification. At the same time, carbon offset calculations. All these things will be regularized by Board of Energy Efficiency, and they would be the one who would be controlling all this. Next, please. Green financing tool, mobilizing capital for sustainable development, green bonds, ESG-linked loans, boost investor confidence and align with climate finance goal, public-private partnership in different projects to make the projects carbon neutral. Next, please. Innovation and technology, smart city, IoT enabling building. As I said, we were talking of sensors, but new IoT devices are coming like anything by which we can monitor and control the energy requirement of a building and ensure that minimum energy is utilized. Real-time monitoring of building performance in terms of temperature, lighting, air quality, predictive maintenance and resource efficiency, prefab or modular sustainable designs, factory-built component like reduced construction, waste and time, efficient use of materials and labor, adaptable to green building norms, support rapid, scalable, and eco-friendly urban development. Next, please. Opportunities for builders, market demand and branding. You say कि ours is IGBC certified building. Rising customer preference for energy efficient and eco-conscious homes, green certified projects, marketing edge in premium and urban housing segment, meeting ESG standards, green projects benefit from financial incentives and faster approvals, long-term cost saving and risk reduction through sustainable practices. Next, please. Green infrastructure, visualizing and key sustainability zones in Maharashtra. As I said, we will have to, all solutions cannot be applied everywhere. If we are to use the solar things, it would be utilized in certain where the solar intensity is more, maybe mostly Marathwada. Wherever the wind energy is there, maybe in Western Maharashtra, we will have to use wind energy. Wherever hydropower could be utilized, we could be utilizing hydropower. So basically, it will have to be decided for which region, which renewable energy is best suited. Next, please. Next, please. So to conclude, the key takeaway is sustainability is no longer a choice. It's a real estate sector and industry standard because this is going to be the standard of future. Whether your building is eco-friendly, whether it's a green building, whether the innovation and collaboration of the key sectors of being eco-friendly are used in. So this is not going to be your choice. This probably would be a compulsion of the time. And therefore, I would request all of you to go for these kind of energy efficient solutions and ensure that you are a part of the sustainable urban growth. Next, please. Thank you. Together we can make cities greener and sustainable. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much, sir. You have given us such a broader perspective of each and everything, not only real estate, but every aspect of that, how we can go towards the sustainable developments. So definitely, and we are also under Shashwat Nirman, working under promoting the sustainable developments. So as Naretco worked very closely with the policy makers, we have given a suggestion to Maharashtra government to reduce at least 1% stamp duty for the home buyers who are buying their home in the green buildings. So we can decide on the slabs, for example, for the platinum, it can be a 1%, for the gold, it can be a 0.5%. So that awareness will come and people will understand what is green building and why we should go towards it. Like you have given us so many examples, like for the electrical vehicles, you said there is no toll, so that people are going towards it. People are understanding why this decision have taken. So now what are the things you feel the existing regulatory framework to encourage greener construction practices, what you would like to recommend them, and especially for the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, like where there is a pressure of rapid urbanization. Like you said, in the next decade, 50% of the people will stay in urban areas and they're moving towards the cities, and it should not increase like amoeba. So, what you would like to recommend for this?
As I said in the beginning itself, as you rightly said, we don't want cities like amoeba. We want planned cities like maybe Chandigarh, maybe New Bombay. And for that special planning, the DP plans will have to come in place. Generally, what happens is the growth takes place earlier and then you have a DP plan in place, but it's of no use. For example, even around Pune, we are seeing so much of development, haphazard development, and yet the PMRDS development plan is yet to come in place. So by the time it comes in place, there will be already irregular growth around. So the key factor to that is implementation of development plan at the earliest. I wouldn't take the credit, but in Nanded and in Nagpur, at both places, I finalized the development plan which were lying there for more than 16 years. And I gave it a finality and then implementation of it. Preparing development plan is only 50% work. But if you are keeping spaces for playground, for the gardens, you must acquire those lands and develop it into gardens, or the otherwise what happens is generally the corporations or the local bodies don't have money and therefore they are dependent on the government, and then they don't acquire the land, and the person concerned is feels harassed. He gives a purchase notice and tries to remove the reservation, which shouldn't happen. Apart from this, government must encourage the local bodies to give tax rebate, as you rightly said, maybe in terms of stamp duty. Maybe there could be a policy by which we call it telescopic taxation mechanism. If you are using lesser of energy, if you are losing lesser of water, you will be taxed less. If you are using more energy, more water, you will be taxed. सो जसं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिलामध्ये आपण पहिल्या 100 युनिटसाठी ₹4 रेट असतो, पुढे इट बिकम्स ₹8. So for same thing for 100 KLD per month, it would be this rate. After 100 KLD, that would be another rate. That's the way whereby you would be making people aware about using the water cautiously and judiciously.
Yeah, certainly, sir. This is very crucial topic, and sadly, people are not aware of this. So awareness must come. So, like as like India has set a target to achieve carbon neutrality by 2070. So, in your opinion, like on this goal, so what key steps should the country prioritize to achieve it? What should be the first step to look at it?
In fact, this is very crucial because leave apart common people, but I'm talking to the industry people. They are also not aware about the carbon picture or the carbon policies that are likely to come in future. So we need to educate them. Very few industrialists with whom I have interacted have realized that energy audit is the first step towards carbon neutrality.
Yes.
Because they don't know where the energy is being consumed in excess of what is required. And the only way by which they could know about it is conducting an energy audit. Because the power factor will tell you how much excess energy is being consumed than what is required. And once you know about it, then you can take corrective steps. But yes, as you said, a lot needs to be done in this sector because people are not aware about it. People are not aware about greenhouses. People are not aware about carbon credit, carbon offset, or carbon pricing mechanism for that matter, which needs to be taken up on a large scale. Government is thinking, but it will take its own time. But even the bodies like NADECO or CREDAI, or for that matter, even I had talked to the Maratha Chamber of Commerce that they should make aware. In fact, I spoke to them. I spoke to their executive about the carbon economy that is likely to come in. So we need to educate the masses, and that's the only way by which we could make them aware.
Yeah, certainly keeping the awareness first thing in mind, we are also taking lot many awareness programs as well as at the developer sites. So as you know, 15,000 builders pan India are the part of Naredco family. So we have started taking the awareness programs at their site. So make them understand what are the things, even at the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Green building somewhere they feel the more greenery, then it's called as a green building. So to make them understand what exactly is the green building, we are working under Shashwat Nirma for the same, and we are looking forward for your guidance. I need to submit few more things to the government under the proposal given for the stamp duty reduction. So I request you to please help me on the same as well.
We will. We will be there. We'll be helping anyone, not only you, anyone coming forward in this direction and anyone taking initiative for this. We are there and will be helping you all out.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks. Ketki, do you have any questions? You're on mute, Ketki.
Yeah. Sir, I have a question. So what role can the RERA authorities play in promoting sustainable development?
The RERA authorities have a very different role. The RERA authority only can play a role by, as I said, in IC campaign, what we are talking about. Because RERA has been given a separate mandate. SIA, which the authority which I head has a separate mandate. We are supposed to go for eco-friendly solutions. RERA is more of a timely completion and completion in a certain span of time and with whatever conditions which had been offered to the buyer. The RERA will have to ensure that those timelines are fixed, and with those conditions only the buyer has to pay. So RERA's mandate is something different than the SIA. But yes, in IC campaign, they can definitely come forward and they can contribute a lot.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have a question in the chat box, ma'am. So should I read it for you?
Yes, please.
How eco-conscious projects' importance and awareness can be promoted to the end user and end buyer?
See, as far as end user and buyer is concerned, the same thing. Patil Madam spoke about it, making people aware. But only making people aware may not serve the purpose because ultimately everything boils down to money. So as she rightly said, unless there are some cost cuts on the eco-friendly projects, unless there are some cost reductions on the projects which are environmental friendly, and these cost cuts, these cost benefits are transferred to buyer. When you provide a solar panel in a vertical building, there are limitations to it. But in a bungalow plot, yes, it is possible to almost make the building or the bungalow electric power free, or the power could be available at no cost. But these are certain things by which the buyer should know that he is going to benefit. And one thing is for sure, at least I have realized that in the region like Marathwada, people have realized that they have to dig bores to such a large extent, and in spite of that, they are not getting water. So recharging of water or water recharging structures are becoming common, and without telling people, they are going for it. People will realize it. They are realizing it. And definitely, Government of India also has different schemes for recharge sector, especially the over-exploited watersheds, for which there are different programs by which they Pani Adva, Pani Jirva, whatever you call it, whatever name you give it, there are schemes for it. But in terms of buyer and end user, it will have to be reflected in cost cutting.
Yeah, certainly as the developers are getting the more FSI, if they go for the different certifications of green building. So to attract them, government have given them the 3, 5 or 7% of extra FSI. The same way, like if we give some incentives to end users as well, then definitely the awareness will come quickly. Wherever the money is involved, I feel it will definitely come across. And so, sir, there is one statement that if we go for the green buildings for the developers, they feel that it is not financially, like it is financially viable, and how we can attract the investors, and how we can tell the developers, though it is a bit expensive right now, but later on it will definitely be at the cost saving things.
As I said, when the Board of Energy Efficiency comes out with the rules, I was talking of clean development mechanism. In future, if you are going to give green buildings, and if somebody contributes money to it, he will earn carbon credit. And it could be an industry, it could be any other organization which is in need of carbon credit or carbon offset, because CDM is one of the mechanisms by which they can earn carbon credit or carbon offset. And this is going to be need of the hour in future. Temporarily, unfortunately, because of the US President's statement, there was a little bit setback because he withdrew from Paris Agreement, but nobody has any choice for it. Ultimately, they will have to think in terms of that, and they will have to come back to those negotiating table. And this CDM or Clean Development Mechanism will attract carbon credits, and it will be sold in market. As I said, in Europe, they are being sold at 70 euro. That means roughly 5,000 rupees one carbon credit. But Government of India has banned selling of carbon credits internationally up to 2030 because we want to become carbon neutral. But the days will come when we will have to buy, and especially states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, which are very well developed state, will have carbon negative, and they will have to buy carbon credits. Whereas state like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, where the development is less and green cover is more, they would be generating carbon credits, and we may have to buy it from them. And therefore, some of the industries in Maharashtra will have to finance CDM, that is Clean Development Mechanism, and they will be contributing towards a green housing project.
Definitely, sir. Ketki, any more questions are there?
1 second, I'll just check. Rajeshri has raised her hand, but I'm not able to see any questions from her. Rajeshri Kuru.
Jai Shri Kurup, she must be.
Jai Shri Kuru. There are no questions, ma'am.
Okay. So as we come to the close of this insightful and engaging webinar that is on the sustainable development policies and challenges, now I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you who has joined us here today. Thank you to Sir, the sincere thanks and to our esteemed panelists, and your expertise, your perspective, and it is thought-provoking discussions we have done today, sir. And it has deepened our understanding of the policies and shaping the sustainability, and what made the hurdles come and how to overcome that. You have explained it, each and everything. So thank you so much. Thanks for giving your valuable time for us, and definitely we will take your guidance under Shashwat Nirman, and thank you so much for extending your help for the same. Thank you all the attendees, and this is the this month's most attended webinar. I would say this. I understand that this is very important subject, and I'm happy to see the attendees that they are understanding it is important. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Ketki, for coordination.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
thanks a
much.
lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much.